Well, the first thing is that it's really important to come to meetings prepared and to know exactly what you want to be able to get out of a meeting. The second thing is to recognize that no one mentor can be everything for me, and so I need to be able to have different mentors to help me in various aspects of my career.
So I think when you're establishing your collaboration and you have a project, it's really important to set expectations. Make sure everyone is on the same page about the expectations, set timelines, set goals, and really work hard to stick to those and to hold each other responsible for those.
I think a good collaboration has a common goal that everyone is working towards, but also there are tangents that each individual can take in their own direction that will further each individual's career. So that ideally, when you achieve the one big goal of the collaboration, you're not done. Everybody can take something away and move it forward in different directions from that point forward.
Another important aspect, if you are starting a new project together, to already be thinking about the manuscripts that will come from that project. So perhaps making a list of the different manuscripts that you envision that this project will generate, and then talking through how authorship will look. And I think that it's really important to establish that up front so that there aren't conflicts toward the final stages.
I also block my time so that I know that the first 2 to 3 hours of the day are the most productive time for me. So I never schedule meetings during those hours. They're blocked on my calendar, and I don't meet with students. I don't meet with faculty during those hours. I keep them for my work.
When I have a large list of priorities that I have to accomplish, at first it can seem really scary to start one or even several of them. So instead, to not be so scared and to be able to start anytime I have 10 minutes to do a task, I've broken down big tasks into tiny little pieces that I can get the satisfaction of checking off my to-do list. It's about never creating a task that would take me more than about 15 minutes.
My best tip for using time wisely is to know yourself. I know that I write best in the morning, so when I need to do writing, I block time in the morning to get it done. I also know that I get antsy in the afternoons, so I like to do more active work in the afternoons, including interacting with others, and I got a standing desk to help me focus later in the day.
And so I read the rejection the first time, and then I take a few days to just let it process before I go back and dive into the comments with a new and critical eye so that I can approach them with curiosity to make my work better.
I prepare for rejection by carefully planning what I'm going to do when I get rejected, not if. I have an action plan, and I'm not discouraged because I know that every single part of my rejection will be an opportunity to improve, and I will act upon it.
My PhD mentor, Mike Ackerman, taught me that if I got a paper in to the first journal I submitted it to, that I hadn't submitted to a high enough journal. That means that rejection is part of not just science, but of doing science right. And that mindset has helped me a lot through my career.
My division chief asked me if I would be interested in being the co-fellowship director. And that was a really tough one for me because it was something that I had a strong interest in. I'm very passionate about training junior investigators, but the timing just didn't fit with my own research career as well as my personal life. I'm happy to say that when the opportunity came several years later and things in my research career and my personal life were different, that when that opportunity came again, I was able to say yes. And
I'll tell you something that I didn't say no to, but I should have said no to, was being a guest editor for a special edition of a journal. That these types of invitations come around not infrequently, and it's very flattering, of course, to receive an invitation to be a guest editor for a journal, but it turns out that I agreed to do that. I spent a lot of time on it, and then the edition actually never came to fruition. So I would recommend that you not say yes to something like that.
I've said yes whenever someone asked me to have coffee with them or lunch or just meet in my office. And those relationships that I've built have made it really fun to come to work even when science and I aren't getting along.
Key resources that I used that were really important in my career development were grant writing courses. So after getting a couple of grants rejected or not scored, I realized that I really needed help with grant writing. And so I enrolled in a couple of grant writing workshops. One was at the K to R transition meeting held at the NIH, and another was a workshop that was sponsored by the AAMC on grant writing. Really coming to it with a humble attitude that, even though I actually thought I was a pretty good writer before, I had a lot to learn in terms of grant writing. That really turned things around for me.
I think the most important resources that I've used are my mentors, and regularly bring my work to get their feedback and listen to it and incorporate it. The other major resource that I've used is small pilot funding, looking for opportunities to get funding from foundation awards or other small funding opportunities that then allowed me to do larger projects based on that preliminary data.
The PAS and SPR workshops. I attended at least 2 workshops every time I went to the PAS SPR meeting, because those skills building workshops, from learning how to do process breakdown to diversifying my portfolio to lean in for women, all of these workshops really helped me get high quality education in intense bursts and then apply them through the rest of the year.
So in the first year after I started my lab, I submitted my first R01 application and it was not funded. And I tried again for the next 2 years and still didn't have an R01 funded. And it wasn't until I had 2 papers that I got published within the same year as senior authors. One was a blood paper and one was a cell reports paper. And miraculously, the next year I had 2 R01s funded. So